usually when people are assassinated by a lone gunman, the explanation is that one individual is burning with hatred towards somebody. They get a few people and they knock them off. The assassination of Abraham Lincoln fits that scheme of John Wilkes Booth. This one, however, is much more complicated in that Kennedy had so many enemies. To me, the best evidence that there was a conspiracy is to look at who would have most wanted Kennedy dead. And at the time, Kennedy really wanted to get out of the Vietnam War. Personally, he did. Politically, he couldn't just pull all the troops out because that makes him look like a coward and a weakling. And so Kennedy's plan was to get reelected in 1964, and at that point begin slowly pulling troops out of Vietnam. And if it meant a surrender or a defeat, then I think he was prepared to do some kind of negotiation with, the Soviets and other, the North Vietnamese. But and the way I see it, the military establishment of this country, the really high-ranking top brass, wanted Kennedy to push in Vietnam, and so I think they saw that Lyndon Johnson was much more stubborn and would have been more willing to stick it out in Vietnam, and so
if he was given a presidency,
right,
in trade,
and so the idea was to kill Kennedy and thereby remove, as they saw it, the dove in Vietnam and replace the dove with someone more hawkish like Lyndon Johnson. That to me is the more plausible theory. But again, there's a lot of folks out there that would say, they would disagree with that. There's no concrete guarantee that Kennedy would have pulled out of Vietnam before it turned so awful for us in later years. But Kennedy was a lot smarter. He was more analytical. He was much more visionary than Lyndon Johnson. Johnson is a skilled politician who knows how to win elections, and Johnson knows what to do in the short term. And so Johnson stuck with Vietnam for several years before it went sour on us. But I think Kennedy, I kind of see Kennedy as himself a martyr, as someone who wanted to move more boldly on Vietnam and pull us out of there, and also more boldly on civil rights in a way that his successors didn't do.